Hello, this is Debbie Spencer at Altered Art Treasures, and I've learned a little bit since yesterday, which was the day I made my first video, or I believe it was yesterday. My channel is called Debbie Spencer, apparently, and I also have a Facebook page called Altered Art Treasures, where I've been not very successful at trying to gather enthusiasm for the original kind of junk journal art book that I made. I'm going to have that site open, that Facebook page, under the name of Altered Art Treasures, just so if there's somebody who wants to get to know me and my work a little better, or perhaps concentrate on the vintage style of crafting journals using vintage or faux vintage pieces, that might be a gathering place for us, as well as the other wonderful journaling groups that are out there. The purpose of my video today is twofold. First, I want to each time try to show some sort of a technique or a storage solution that has worked for me over the course of many years and many moves and crafting in sometimes cramped spaces. And the other purpose is to at least show you the three kinds of art journal, junk journal, whatever you want to call them, that I have been making so far. So that's the purpose, and hopefully your comments will help shape the kind of content you'd like to see. I developed this storage system fairly recently. This is an ordinary jewelry organizer. It's important that you get the kind that has zippers. Okay, and basically I use 3 of these hung in a closet to store things in a particular way. This is my cloth and soft storage, and I have my embellishments, not all of them, but a certain quantity that I can grab and choose from when I'm crafting, sorted by color. And on the back, little projects I've made that I may want to use to remind me of what I have more of in other places. But that's the one I have with soft things. My harder things, my metals and so on, I have stored in a different set of pockets. And again, it's not all that I have, but it's enough that I can grab a safety pin or some gears or whatever it is that I want to find. And the third one is for my small paper, journaling cards, stamps, and so on. Now, that's not all that I use. I have other storage ideas to explain to you how I organize my vintage pieces, my paper, and so on. We can talk about those another time. The 3 kind of journals that I've been making are, first of all, this is just an ordinary traveler's notebook insert. Now this one I used a kit from Paper Garden in Finland, Vera Lusica, but I enhanced it with a lot of things on my own. So I'm not sure that they would recognize it. I'm not going to do a complete flip through right now. I just kind of wanted to show you how my style and use of materials, especially vintage materials, translates into a junk journal that is highly directed toward texture, color, and the use of genuine or faux genuine vintage ephemera. And since most people don't really seem to use their journals to write a lot in, what I do is I use little tuck spaces and tags so that I can journal, but I don't necessarily have to see the writing or what I've written. So that's one kind of journal that I make. It's simply stapled in the middle. I have a long stapler that I use, and if it starts to get a little chunky, I will use washi tape or a glue, double-sided adhesive strip to just kind of make sure the whole thing stays together. So that's type number 1. This is an example of type number 2, and I want to thank Venka Birkeland and her channel Finally Crafting, because I learned using her 6-part tutorial how to construct this sort of a video, this sort of a journal using paper bags and envelopes. Okay, basically this one uses 3 handmade envelopes that are oriented in different ways and a paper bag. Okay, this is the second envelope. It opens up. And the third. Okay, so you can again put all your journaling things there. And this one is one that I actually borrowed from my mother because I gave it to her for Christmas, and kind of tucked some of her, all these have Christmas memories on the back of when I was a child, and she really cherished it. The third kind of journal is near and dear to my heart, and those are what I originally started crafting all on my own. As far as I know, not a lot of people were using genuine Victorian albums as a art medium. So a girlfriend and I started doing that, and we started selling some of them in Connecticut. I moved after my divorce, and my Altered Art Treasures website on, well, not a website, but my Facebook page has a few family and friend members, but my dream is to actually make it a gathering place for art books and junk journals of people who want to do the vintage style. So you're welcome to take a look. There hasn't been much posted there recently. You can get these Victorian albums in a variety of covers. Many of them have leather. Some of them have beautiful celluloid covers. And also cloth, which isn't in a very good condition, but a lot of times I will work with that, recover it with lace or whatever. So I have many of these to show you. And I did not even know what junk journaling was until 2 years ago, and until then I was happily crafting on my own. So now what I do is I still use these. You can get them in all different sizes, prices. Many of them come with vintage photographs, so you get those for the price of the album. But now I use tuck spots and so on for journaling cards. But this one is one that I really enjoyed making. I decorated the cover and redid the spine just with tape. It still has a working clasp that I wanted to still be able to use. So the title of this particular one is called Gentle Diversions for Ladies. And I don't remember when I made it. I do sign my work, but I didn't put the year there. Oh well. So basically, most of what I use is genuine vintage ephemera or paper crafting supplies. And I love the fact that these niches, which appear, the pages are sturdy cardboard pages, but basically you can take the paper that's over them out, and this is the spaces where the pictures used to go, and you end up with a wonderful space where you can put lumpier, I like to call them, embellishments, and really do the detail. This is, for instance, a slide mount. This is a trading card. I've got some little charms. So gentle diversions for ladies. We have social calls and tea. I love this. This is an original picture. This lady with her ear horn. I used a modern book on etiquette for social calls and so on. This is a crushed candy wrapper from Lint Torts, I think. Sea bathing. This was a lot of fun. Again, you can use embellishments, maybe up to a quarter of a thickness, and it will still close. So you have to experiment. Sometimes I leave the niches open. Sometimes I back them. It's really kind of neat because you have to make sure that it will close. You've got to be sure if you leave it open, as I did with this one, that what it shows on the one side works for you on the other side as well. And I put what I call danglies, you know, little pieces, this tiny teapot. I attach mine to the bottom. All right, so sea bathing. cycling. Some of these are, I don't know, paper crafting supplies like this one. Sometimes I have literally hundreds and hundreds of books and everything sorted by category. So if you ever want to visit my Etsy shop, Altered Dark Art Treasures, it's not very well stocked right now. I've been busy crafting, but I will one-on-one put together a list of things by topic, color, whatever. Traveling, another gentle diversion for ladies. This is a real piece of ephemera for a ship-to-shore visit in Monaco. And you can recognize rub-ons, charms, little flat discs that I stamp on, paper crafting metals. This one is needlecraft with a real needle book, a little dress dummy, some vintage buttons. This is a sleeve for thread. On this side, a sewing machine ad from an old newspaper, darning silk. And this is actually a segment from a book at the turn of the century that was designed to teach adults how to read. I can sew. I take the spool of thread. I break off a piece of thread. Now, rather than learning to read with children's materials, at least they were teaching you something about different professions you might do in the United States. Writing. These are beautiful. This is a little brooch, oftentimes commemorating a loved one, sometimes a loved one who's passed away. A pen nib, old stamps. Gardening. I've got a transparency with some things behind it. As I say, these were not anticipated as junk journals. I didn't know what junk journals were, but they would be easy. They are easy for me to just kind of change because I simply use some of these areas, make pockets, like the seed packet. I could open the top of it so you can slip something in. Music, another gentle diversion. I played the flute when I was younger. I have all kinds of things sorted by category, so if I would know what your theme is, whether it's music or children or whatever, I can better come up with the kinds of materials you use. And then the last one is beekeeping, a gentle diversion. These were trade cards. Trade cards are Victorian pieces of advertising. They had an image on the top. Color printing, chrome lithography had just come into mainstream use, and each of these has like an advertisement on the back. And you know, the scrapbook, the idea of the scrapbook comes back to the Victorian people who actually did collect pieces that were quite beautiful. Some they purchased at stationery shops, and they put them in their scrapbooks so that a young man could leaf through those while he's waiting for his lady to get dressed so they could go out for a walk. So this is one of dozens of albums that I've made, and if people are interested, I can continue to show you different kinds, different sizes, where to get them, how you can repair them, and basically it's a beautiful surface, and it kind of solves the problem of bookbinding. So that's all I have for today. Thank you, and we'll move on with areas of interest as the weeks go on. Thank you so much.